Let's give it another minute. There was a bit of a technical issue. Let's allow some folks to join, okay? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our AMA session. My name is Christoph Lukovic. I am the CEO of Suihub AMA. I'm joined by some amazing startups and wonderful co-hosts with me. We have representatives from Mr. Labs, Sui, CoinList, Brink, and Podcast Labs. Before I jump into what we explain to you, we're here today to announce the awards are excited to be part of Suihub's first accelerator program. We believe that these teams will become some of the biggest hits on Sui in the upcoming month, and we're very excited to work with incredibly talented, passionate builders who want to make a difference in this world. I will first say something that we're very proud and grateful for the support and backing from the Sui Foundation and the technical support from Mr. Labs. We're proud to announce that these startups are part of the inaugural cohort and of the joint effort that we've done together with our partners at CoinList, Brink, and the local partner GAF Labs. Before I introduce the teams, I wanted to explain to you very briefly, for those of you that are not familiar with Suihub, what is Suihub and why we exist. As Suihub, we believe that our mission is to help empower the builders that want to come onto the Sui chain or become multi-chain projects to help have the best support that they can have. We are here to help facilitate any kind of help that we can for the builders and founders. We're very much focused and driven by the mission to serve our founders. In fact, everything we do is for them. We operate on 3 different levels. We operate as a Web3 hub. We have our physical co-working space. We do community engagement initiatives, and we provide technical and business support office hours. We're also continuously looking for ventures that we can identify for support and also for great opportunities that we can combine with various founders and partners that we have. And of course, the reason we're here today is the accelerator program. We are very proud of the accelerator program's first iteration. We had over 600 applicants to the program. This is one of the highest ever ecosystem specific intake for any accelerator program. Of this, we picked a top 5 handful of projects, which means that these guys, these founders, these builders represent less than 1% of applicants. We're very proud to associate with some of the best and help them. It is a real privilege to be part of their journey. And we want to spend this AMA session talking about them and allowing them to introduce themselves, their projects, talk to them about what their project means to the world and how some of us can be involved and support it. I believe that with all of our help together, these companies can be very strong and can deliver an impact. Over the next 12 weeks, the teams will be receiving technical support from some of the best engineers in the world from Mr. Labs, some of the best technical support from Sui and Suihub, advisory work from Brink, and of course, the experts of CoinList as well, helping with go-to-market strategy and figuring out the right path for these projects. The support that we'll be providing ranges from business strategies, technical product, market fit, tokenomics, any kind of business development that they may need, and a number of other aspects. So we're very proud of this partnership and this joint initiative between the partners. Having said that, thank you very much again for everyone listening in today. And I would like to hand it over to Tom to moderate this and introduce the first startup.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christoph. Really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So my name's Tom. I am the program manager from the Brink side on this program, and very excited for this. This is probably one of the best cohorts we've ever seen in terms of startups. And yeah, we'll go straight into it. Obviously, I think this is what everyone has been waiting for a few months. I know a lot of people have been reaching out to me with a huge amount of interest in terms of who is participating in this cohort. So yeah, finally get to find out. So we'll go one by one with each team. And just starting off, I would love to introduce our first team, Blue Whale and Hanjin. Now, Blue Whale, that seems to be a pretty good fit for Sui, considering the ocean aquatic theme, right? The Blue Whale has landed on Sui. We'd love to hear from your side.
Totally. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure to be part of this cohort. Definitely one of the most accelerating experiences in the last couple of weeks, getting to know the team. But to give you a little bit of background about us and Blue Whale, So both me and my co-founder, we have been in AI for quite some time. My co-founder did his PhD at Stanford in 2007. I did mine in Berkeley 2011-12. So for us, the journey in Web 2 and AI has been a long one. And then we transitioned into Web 3 in 2022. Now, we found it very unfair in the Web 2 space that most of the data belong to the big companies. And so we wanted to build the same infrastructure we used to build for the big guys on the blockchain. And so that's kind of like how we transitioned into building Blue Whale, which is Web3's first intelligence layer to power agents and models on chain. Now, the beauty of what we are trying to build is a multi-sided marketplace where individuals can power with their mobile devices the data input, the resources that those agents will need. And Sui was one of the fastest, one of the best performing chains that we could actually hope to land on. And I would say, with Sui, the theme and narrative, like we were missing liquidity as a big whale, and so if we can, get some water, that would be good for us to keep accelerating and scaling.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Blue Whale team, Han. You've kind of alluded to this already. You are a very advanced team. You're doing fantastically well overall. What got you so excited about expanding to Sui, and what is the main thing that is getting you excited about Sui? What does your sort of roadmap look like?
So first of all, looking at the technology what Sui is providing, it really takes the game to the next level from a transaction speed perspective, but also like in terms of accelerating consumer security and the data that they have built into the CK support that is there. For us, ultimately, because the Sui teams comes out of the, the Facebook back in the days, they understand very deeply what we are trying to build. We are trying to build a similar kind of like graph structure intelligence underneath around user behavior and user data. And so we felt like there was a natural fit because they understand us, and we really appreciate that the technology can actually take us to the next level compared to some of the other chains that are slower in terms of retrieving information, much more kind of like risks on having consumer data being exposed. And so on multiple different fronts, there's a huge benefit for us to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Blue Whale team. We're really excited to see how you guys expand into Sui and seeing the progress you do over the next 3 months and beyond. Now moving on to our next team with Swarm Network. Yannick, welcome to Suihub. We'd love to hear an introduction of Swarm and everything you guys are building.
Thank you very much. First of all, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Then let's kick it off. Yeah, first and foremost, I'm super happy to be part of this accelerated program, and that we have the honor as the whole team to be able to be surrounded by a group of very, very skilled and talented people. We've had the pleasure to, over the course of the last few weeks, to get to know each other and to understand how much of a difference this program is really going to be able to make, not just for us, but for all of the participants, and not just for the participants, but also for the Sui ecosystem at large. Thanks to Miston Labs and some of the builders over, that are working alongside Miston Labs and are now targeting the Sui ecosystem. We've had the pleasure to welcome a couple of really great products, of which, for example, Walrus, which we're integrating with. So yeah, really happy to be here. And I think that Swarm Network is a really good fit for the ecosystem. What we're doing is we're in the business of building businesses for our community. And the way we do that is we have a multi-agent collaboration framework, which is relatively advanced, but we're trying to simplify it for end users. So what that means is that you'll be able to interface with a set of no-code tools, and through natural language, you'll be able to spin up a cluster of up to 100 agents that can do a very specific thing, basically anything, but like you are the architect of this cluster. What you then can do with a cluster is you can tap endpoint. These endpoints are intended to be decentralized agents. We have one decentralized application which is fully built on a set of this cluster. What you then can do with a cluster is you type of endpoint. These endpoints are intended to be decentralized applications. We have one decentralized application which is fully built on a Swarm stack, but we can talk about this a little bit later. But yeah, so that is basically the gist of it. Additional to that, we have a truth protocol. The truth protocol is therefore bringing arbitrary data on chain and then making that data available to all of the agents and all of the participants on the network. And at the same time, it will also serve as a settlement layer. So you can imagine that perhaps by the end of next year, we'll have around 100,000 different agents, parts of different clusters and different swarms running in our ecosystem, and they all have to have access to verified information and data, but they also have to be able to interact with each other based off a predetermined set of rules, and that's exactly what we are building.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Something that we've seen a lot, and you've kind of mentioned this already, verifiability of on-chain data is a very hot topic on Sui. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of the Sui co-founders talking about this. How does Swarm tackle this, and what's your kind of vision for that, especially with the leveraging of Walrus that you mentioned already?
Yeah. We try to be very conscious about what we build, and we are determined to make a difference in bringing like something truly useful to the audience, not just another grift or not just another kind of like far-fetched or very far in the future idea. And to prove that, we have actually built the very first swarm, which is called the Truth Swarm, which is able to bring arbitrary data on chain in real time and verify that. So actually the verification and happens first and then it's pushed on chain. So we built that entirely on top of our Swarm stack. So all of the infrastructure, the AI infrastructure is Swarm native infrastructure, and then it interfaces with the Sui network. So why is this really important is because on the back of that, you can build like really amazing stuff. Right now, there's a lot of issues in Web3, and the reason why it's not fully decentralized yet is because a lot of the data that we use, like for example, like some kind of price feeds or even arbitrary data that we use to settle prediction markets and so on, they are provided by either very centralized players such as like Chainlink, and those guys kind of like dominate the market in terms of like these kind of like data streams that are pushing on chain, or they are provided, for example, in the case of Polymarkets, it's provided by uma.xyz, but those are very flawed and very dependent on human labor, essentially, and they are easy to be manipulated and so on, and it's very hard to do this like in real time. So we actually built a product on top of that. So one of the apps that you can use right now is called Rollup News. It's Rollup _ News. So if you find any thread or any information on X and you want to have that fact checked and pushed on chain, you can just tag rollup _ news and add the word rollup, ROLLUP, and then you will receive a information rollup, which is a fully on-chain version of the information, and that's fact checked and that's verified, and that's kind of like the proof of what we can do with our stack. And that's just the beginning. But yeah, it's really important to have these kinds of very practical and real utility-driven swarms out there, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the Swarm team. Now, moving on to a team that's been building on Sui and noticed the Sui ecosystem very well already. Would love it if the Patara team could introduce themselves. Obviously, you guys are well known across the Sui ecosystem, but we're super excited to see what you do as a result of the cohort.
Hey you all, Faisal here. Thank you guys for making this cohort and the accelerator program. It's very great to get this much of support, and all that we can say is we appreciate it. But what if we come to Patera is the Patera is the main hub of Sui. We have everything that's going to be on the Sui as DeFi and NFTs. So this technically means that we are putting every DeFi protocol of Sui into one platform. So you don't need to fragmentate your thinking or the opportunities into other platforms, because before Patera, I was running myself, going into multiple platforms and manage my liquidity and track my portfolio in a bunch of places. But now in Patera, I can just track my portfolio, manage my portfolio, and trade, swap, DCA, and everything included on Story. So the best thing with Patera is just everything on Sui will be on Patera at some point. That's what we're building.
Amazing. Yeah, I've used the app on a pretty regular basis. It's an amazing, it facilitates the user experience on Sui a huge amount. So just a quick question. You already know Sui very well. What's the next steps for you guys in the next 6 to 12 months?
Next 6 to 12 months, this technically means for Patera is become the main page of Sui. So anyone that gets onboarded into Sui will get into Patera instead of, for example, downloading Sui wallet, which will be included in Patera's mobile application, we can say. Or also launch multiple products, we can say, in Patera's ecosystem, because Patera is not just an application, but it's an ecosystem. And make your experience in DeFi so easy as just clicking one button. For example, I can share alpha. I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking about it. I can share alpha, but yeah, just become the main page of Sui and provide you guys very great UX, I can say.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Cool. I really appreciate you joining Patara and the Patara team. And if anyone in the audience has any questions, we will be moving on to the fourth team in just a second. But if anyone in the audience has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat under this AMA. And then towards the end of the call, we will be answering a few of them, depending obviously on our time availability. Cool. I really appreciate it, Patara. Moving on to our penultimate team of the day, Aspis. So yeah, the Aspis team, feel free to introduce yourselves when you are ready.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Renat, one of the co-founders of Aspis Protocol. First of all, huge thanks to Sui and Suihub teams for your trust and continued support. This means a lot to us because we're super excited to be selected out of more than 600 applicants for the first cohort. And we do believe that Sui ecosystem is one of the most innovation-friendly spaces in Web3 today. So thrilled to be building here. We're not Sui native yet, but looking forward to it. So as for Aspis itself and what we're building, so basically, just imagine a platform where you could invest in DeFi and it's not held back by complexity, security concerns, inefficient manual trading. So we're building the ultimate AI managed DAO platform, and our main goal is to make DeFi accessible, safe, and efficient for everyone, not only for Web3 natives, but also for the beginners. And we started all of this by addressing a core problem. So investors, they lacked secure, transparent, and user-friendly on-chain fund infrastructure. And our first iteration, it offered do-it-yourself vault DAO creation with this security layer on top of it. But manual trading was limiting. Scaling was really hard. Private key sharing posed some risks. So that's why later on we introduced a trading client for custom strategies to this, DAO framework. And now we have evolved into the AI DAO framework, where we are merging DAO principles with advanced AI trading agents. And basically our final vision is to create a platform where you simply say, deploy 1K for 10% yield at 5% max loss, and the system does the rest for you. So yeah, once again, super excited to be here. Looking forward to, deep dive into the acceleration program. because it's not just technical onboarding. We're getting dedicated one-on-one mentorship. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, as you kind of mentioned already, let me ask you something. You have something specific you're currently planning within DAO space on Sui. Could you kind of shed some more light on what you are planning and what you're hoping to achieve within that area, and specifically to do with who you're kind of trying to partner with on the Sui network to achieve it as well?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we're not Sui native yet, but we have already built first MVP of our DAO constructor, and we're actively planning a series of customer discovery sessions with existing Sui-based projects. So our goal here is to better understand their operational and product needs, so we can, tailor a framework to serve the Sui ecosystem more precisely. So kudos to Swarm Network team as well, hoping to build something together, guys. And ultimately, our plan is to launch like a full DAO framework on Move. So this will allow us to harness Sui's parallel execution, and our goal is to enable via this framework a permissionless deployment of AI management investment DAOs, and with on-chain execution on top of that. And we also will introduce a Telegram native experience in a form of a Telegram bot, like a no-code interface for strategy building and like DAO creation. So we'll be lowering the barrier to entry both for retail and for institutional guys. So we see this as a way to bring scalable, secure, and user-friendly, most of all, asset management to Sui. But the first goal is to understand the needs of Sui-based projects better, so we can better align and tailor what we're building, so it's beneficial for the whole ecosystem.
Amazing. That's great. And you mentioned something that's really exciting there, which is the amount of collaboration that's already happening within the cohorts, and that will be happening over the cohorts over the next 12 weeks. Cool. Thank you so much for that, the Jaspers team. Moving on to Native, last but not least, who are leading the charge of Bitcoin on Sui. Native team, Shiva, feel free to introduce the project.
Thanks, Tom. Super excited to be in this cohort. And first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to Christoph, Suihub team, Bring team. You guys are amazing help, and really looking forward to the continued support. Native, just a quick background about ourselves. Like me and my co-founder Robert, in this case for 7+ years. Robert has been building protocols in various ecosystems like Cosmos, Near, Ethereum. And now we are making Sui as our home. Myself in the past, with the Polygon, Meta, leading marketing and go-to-market strategies, and now really looking forward for what we are building with Native. About Native, as I mentioned, like we're building BTC5 for Sui ecosystem. We are unlocking Bitcoin liquidity for DeFi and social apps on Sui. So Native is the most secure way of bringing the hardest money Bitcoin to the fastest chain, Sui, where users can avail different yield opportunities for their Bitcoin, all permissionlessly without any trusted intermediaries. So we're super excited to be building on Sui ecosystem and make a BTC5 grow.
Amazing. Really appreciate that. Well, thank you, Shiva. Pleasure to have you with us today. Obviously, Bitcoin on Sui is a super hot topic at the moment. What do you think needs to happen within that ecosystem now? What is your sort of call to action to the community, your mission for Native on Sui?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we believe like Bitcoin and Sui Wave is just getting started, right? But to truly win, like we need builders and protocols to make Bitcoin more secure and useful. That's where we come in at Native. We are building the Bitcoin, Bitcoin Yield Hub, a one-stop place where users can discover and enter Bitcoin strategies with just one click. No bridging, no wrapping, no custodians, right? So thanks to ICA, we are leveraging ICA's MPC tech, which means as a user, Bitcoin stays secure and trustless. You don't need to give ownership of your Bitcoin to anyone. So that eliminates a lot of counterparty risks. Our call to action, we just released the alpha testnet. If you're building on Sui, it's time to bring a native Bitcoin into your stack. Let's build amazing apps that treat Bitcoin as a first class citizen, liquidity in the Sui ecosystem, not just some bridged asset or wrapped asset which has like a lot of counterparty risk and other risk. So call to action for DeFi or DeFi protocols, please reach out to us if you want to integrate our native BTC. For users, please stay tuned. We will be running incentivized testnet very soon. Your feedback very valuable. Let's make Sui the home of BTC5, the most vibrant Bitcoin powered ecosystem in all of crypto.
Amazing. Let's make BTC great on Sui. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, just before we go on to questions, I'd just like to, and by the way, for the questions, there aren't any comments on this space. So if you could go to the post on Suihub and comment in there, that would be appreciated. But just before I open the floor to questions there, it would be great to just have, if any of the teams here have anything that they kind of missed in their introduction, any kind of like last comments or things they want the Sui community to know, please feel free to unmute and mention them. If not, then we can move to questions. So yeah, feel free to start dropping them on the Suihub post. Also, just to mention, whilst we wait for a few questions to come in, on May 2nd during Sui Basecamp, there will be an event where you get to meet all the teams. So if any of the people in attendance right here today are going to Sui Basecamp, please, register to the event, come meet everyone. Everyone's going to be around for the whole week of Token and Basecamp. It would be great to see you there in person. Perfect. Okay, so we have the first few questions. So for Swarm Network and Get Swarmed, so it's built from the start on Sui blockchain. I noticed a few of the other projects are not native to Sui yet. How is Get Swarmed going to implement Walrus protocol? So Yannick, if you could answer how Swarm Network is planning to use Get Swarmed and leverage the benefits of Walrus protocol.
Yeah. So so can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, because I couldn't see the wave icon thingy. Yeah, so yeah, correct. We are, so to speak, Sui native from day one, and that was a very obvious choice for us because just of the superiority of the Sui stack in general. And yeah, well, we were actually very much blessed with the timing of Walrus because we were kind of with our hands in our hair in terms of like where we were going to park all this data that we were bringing on chain. And for those who don't know, but like Rollup is handling around 20 to 40,000 claims per day. And now that we've rolled out the second version of that, that's even more. So what we're aiming at is to bring the majority of that data like straight onto Walrus, and also serve our serve all our infra endpoints from Walrus as well. So like our websites and our portals and so on will be hosted on Walrus, but then additionally to that, we'll be able to store a lot of the relevant and important data that people want to access, which are data that are like too large in size for just storing straight onto Sui. Like there's like a limit to what we can do on Sui, obviously. So yeah, so like Walrus is going to be kind of like our best friend, if you will, because without Walrus, we don't really have a very good integrated solution on the Sui network where we can even store the data. So we will be able to also help Walrus in a way where some of the data that is going to be brought on chain is initially going to be sponsored by Swarm Network, but eventually, like once the epochs pass by, for that data to be able to be served continuously, those that are interested in keeping that data on chain, so that could be different swarms, so that could be the foundation, or that could be some kind of like dApp that we are servicing, for example, Rollup News. We will find ways, and we actually have found several really interesting ways for like kickstarting that economy, for making sure that there's funds continuously flowing into our side of the network, but then from us to Walrus as well, to make sure that the data stays available. And our kind of like vision is really to bring a lot of data, like really a lot of data, and very much arbitrary data that then can serve us and can be used in, like, for example, like very complex or advanced DeFi smart contracts that are going to be triggered if certain global events happen, for example, right? So this is the kind of like next frontier of bringing arbitrary data on chain, and then actually using that arbitrary data on chain to drive financially like really like pretty advanced kind of like financial decisions on chain, right? So you can imagine that you can now make decisions based off macro and micro events, but you'd have to monitor those events and then you make a decision. Now we're saying we can build in logic on smart contract level that says like, look at these triggers, look at these different events that are happening in the world. If this happens, then I want to do so and so. So those are the kind of things that are going to be possible if we manage to integrate very well with Walrus. But we've been doing so, and the first kind of like, because like Walrus is new as well, right? And we're pretty new, so we're still finding the optimal way. But our first couple of tests runs that we've done with Walrus thus far have been very nice, and our tech team is actually in contact with the guys at Miston Labs to make sure that we're making the right decisions in terms of how we are really solidifying the architecture that makes all that possible.
Awesome, really appreciate that. A question for Native. In terms of, you had some alpha drop on Monday, right, with NBTC. I would love it if you could kind of share what that means and how big a deal this is for the Sui ecosystem, and generally how big a deal it is for you as well.
Absolutely. We actually, our developers, Stan and Robert, are in the call as well. Thanks for their amazing work. We are the first time able to mint NBTC, which is a native BTC, on Sui permissionlessly. It's a big deal, right? Like most of the BTC that is being used in DeFi, not just in Sui, like any other ecosystem, right? Either you use as some sort of a bridge or some sort of a wrapping assets where you have like a different counterparty risk. So what it means for NBTC means we permissionlessly be able to mint the NBTC, which is a non-custodial BTC, right? And so user can keep their BTC on their BTC network in the wallet and still be able to participate and make their Bitcoin more capital efficient in Sui. A little bit of alpha. We will very soon be launching a user interface for users to interact with NBTC. We are currently integrating with some few selected DeFi applications. And we are also launching very soon BTC 5 Believers NFT collection. Our goal with this is basically build a community.
Native, I think we had a slight tech issue and we got muted.
Sorry, I don't know where I got cut off, but yeah, I was just saying very soon. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so I was just saying, like we minted that NBTC permissionlessly this week, and we very soon be opening this for user to interact. Currently, we are integrating with few selected DeFi applications in Sui, and we also launching BTC 5 Believers NFT collection. Our goal with this to bring community members together and make BTC 5 great again on Sui.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So a question to Blue Whale and Han. This is from Yasmina. In markets where most projects are struggling to raise, what convinced your backers the Blue Whale is building something inevitable?
A really good question. I have been thinking about the same question every night. But so I think, you know, like one of the most important thing I feel in Web3 is to have both, which means being able to design a financial model, being able to design the right, you know, token so that your company takes off, but also being able to build products that have real traction and real users. And I feel like finding companies, especially in Web3, that have both sides is very, very hard. And so, you know, especially, you know, to point out my weakness coming out of Web 2, right? Never really dealt with like tokens and tokenomics and all those kind of things, and had to really learn it over the last 2 to 3 years to get really good at it. But, you know, the nature of building products that have a lot of users is something that has been always in our nature, right? In the last a decade of building startups. And so, like I feel like in this space, the current market is not looking too good, but being able to demonstrate on both sides that you have the right strategy, that you have the right assumptions, the right experiments that you're running, and also being able to show the traction on both ends is very, very critical to succeed, compared to like previous bull runs where maybe you could, you know, just do one well and you will succeed. But I feel like somehow, you know, as you know, as we mature as a market, the expectations on the entrepreneurs and builders are also increasing. And so, you know, we see ourselves as, you know, trying really to put a lot of focus on getting both things right.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. And I think we're getting to the last of the few questions, but I just have a question for Pitar in terms of you guys have such a big focus on user experience on Sui. You've already onboarded a lot of Sui ecosystem and you're doing great things there. What's kind of firstly motivated you to use Sui as your home? And secondly, drive this sort of like, you know, focus on user experience within Sui, becoming sort of like a home for it?
Yeah, very good questions. Firstly, I'm a developer, okay, the one that is speaking, Faisal. And for me, I've been into multiple ecosystems and tech, we can say. And here on Sui is everything is different from community side, from tech side, and everything is just different. For example, like Miston team is always asking, or Sui Foundation team always asking for inputs and what's our feedback, and just changing how Sui works based on our feedback because they are caring for the developers, which is very good for us. And that's why me as a person trying to onboard as much as users and as much as developers as I can, because everyone needs to taste this delicious food, in my opinion. If we get into the second question, we believe that getting users is the you can get users, but if the users don't feel right at home, I don't think they will stay. For example, in crypto, we see that a lot, and people, for example, my mother doesn't wants to know liquidity, lending, or whatsoever, and just wants to use the application and get a yield, for example. And we are building such a good experience that anyone that is on Web2 is coming to Patera and start using crypto without even knowing what crypto is. That's the aim. And yeah, that's what I can say. That's what motivates us to do such a good UX. Yeah.
Perfect. Appreciate that from Patara. And just one last question for Aspis. What's one killer use case you're most excited to see built with Aspis?
Yeah, so can you please repeat that? I think I've lost you for a couple of seconds.
Sure thing, yeah. What's one killer use case you're most excited to see built with Aspis?
That's a really good question, actually. Well, I think the main use case for us would be the agent fund. Basically the final vision, I would say, what we're targeting. So where you could just, using a plain language, a user can go to a platform or Telegram bot interface. He can see like a list of, top performing DAOs or wallets or whatever you can call it. And he can just not only invest into it, but he can also play around it, building and creating his own strategy, because I think it's beneficial in the end for the whole ecosystem and the whole Web3. So just turning not non Web3 natives into Web3 natives. So like everything is super easy, no complexity at all, user friendly, and everything is built on chain. So basically, just if we can like give you like a high level overview, that would be like a use case of turning a non Web3 native into Web3 native through basically just plain language commands and guiding him through the whole process.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I think that concludes the question aspect of this AMA. But we're very excited to be working with all of these teams over the next 12 weeks. Just a quick reminder again about May 2nd, we'll be at Basecamp and you get to meet teams there as well. And we'll keep you updated about all of the progress they make over the next few months. Just before we close, I'd love to, if Christoph wants to say anything to close, feel free.
Yes. First of all, thank you to everyone for joining us. We were very excited to introduce you to the brilliant first cohort, which, as you can see, is quite strong. And they're working on different aspects of how Sui's amazing technology can be used for making day-to-day lives better and also for bridging Web2 to Web3, which is very interesting. As one of the founders mentioned, we want to help remove any barriers to using blockchain technology and make people feel comfortable doing that. And I think what the startups are doing is going to help tremendously. I definitely, it's part of my job to maintain all the focus on the startups. But if for a second you allow me, I wanted to thank all the people who have been tirelessly helping in the back office to make this program a success. All the people that have been helping through the scouting, the filtering, doing the scoping, from the technical team of Mr. Labs, Andras and George, to the co-founder of Mr. Labs, Dr. Costa himself, joining the calls, to the very passionate people at CoinList, Nandu, Corey, Scott, Alex, personally coming, helping, working with the founders, joining us early mornings, late nights. Of course, the whole team of Brink, Yasmina, Tom, brilliant work, and of course our team, Tom's, Victor, Dina, and all of you guys. You've done a wonderful job, and really appreciate all the help you've provided. We could not have asked for better partners and a better team to make this happen. Thank you so much. I wanted to explain a bit. We are very excited for the Sui ecosystem growth. It's a great time to be a builder. Market conditions will come and go and change, but I think strong projects will have a valid market for themselves, and we're happy to help builders. In fact, so much so that, if I may share a personal story, and this is a bit anecdotal, one of the hardest and most time-consuming things for us was building the rejection email. We also need to thank all those 630 plus people that and teams that wanted to get in and couldn't get in. And it was difficult for us to find all the resources we can help them with. We wanted them to have access to technical support, from figuring out how they can bridge their projects, what marketing pieces they can access, if there's other support mechanisms that we can provide for them. And so we want to continue building this, and all of you to feel invited to be a part of the SUI movement. We want you to feel that you have access to support. On our X page, we will share maybe as a comment some of the links that you can use to learn more about the technology, learn more about other initiatives that we're working on, be a part of the community. It's important. Some of the teams that maybe are joining in here today, we want to see applications coming from you. We want you to reach out to us and say, hey, we have this great project. When I come to your office hour, help us build this. And so we'd be very excited to see you all, of course, at Basecamp, and please register. And we'd love to see you and also connect you to other ecosystem partners, meet the founders in person, meet our teams in person, ask questions and challenge us, see how we can help you. Ultimately, this is something, the mission is something that we cannot do alone. We need everyone who believes in what we're doing is the right way to go. And therefore, very excited for our future. It's a great time to be a SUI builder. And thank you so much for everyone for believing.
Perfect. Well, on that note, very well said, Christoph. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. It was a great time, some great questions in there, and very excited for the following weeks to come.